We are back with another Superman Spider-Man crossover, and this is actually one of my favorites out of the full book that recently dropped. So, within this Spider-Man Superman crossover, we have them again teaming up against some of their more recognizable villains. Last time it was Brainiac and Otto Octavius, but this time around it's the Green Goblin and Lex Luthor. And I see a pattern here. Every single time Superman and Spider-Man team up, there is kryptonite involved to weaken Superman to some capacity. And this story in particular lets us know why. We pick up with Spider-Man and Superman buried under rubble in this story, and Superman has currently been weakened by either radiation from kryptonite or magic, two of his vulnerabilities. And he's explaining to Spider-Man, the reason I'm so weak, the reason I feel this way is because kryptonite is it's hurting me, it's making me weak. And Spider-Man is like, what is that, like a form of like adamantium, or is it like a material like adamantium? And Superman's like, well, can adamantium or can that unalive you? And Spider-Man is like, yeah, under particular circumstances. And Superman, being Superman, wanted to make sure that Spider-Man doesn't have any kryptonite on him that could be inhibiting or impairing his powers. So Superman goes ahead and gives Spider-Man the old X-ray eyes, and Spider-Man's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just X-raying you. I just want to make sure that there's no kryptonite on your person. And besides that watch that you have on you, it seems everything checks out." And Spider-Man's like, with how dangerous kryptonite is, what sort of maniac would keep that on their utility belt? Another joke and nod to Batman. Hilarious. But it seems like Green Goblin and Lex Luthor have teamed up for the sole purpose of not just defeating Spider-Man and Superman, but something a little bit more. So the Green Goblin throws one of his goblin bombs into this pile of rubble that is currently burying Superman and Spider-Man, and it releases radiation from kryptonite. And Spider-Man tries to web it up to try and protect Superman as much as he can from the effects of the radiation, but Superman tells him it's of no use. It's not going to work. What you need to do is get out of here, and you need to help the civilians because all the villains are teaming up, and that's what they need. They need Spider-Man out there helping him, but Spider-Man refuses. Spider-Man's like, no way, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to help you. We're going to get out of this. I know we can. But the rubble starts crumbling. Spider-Man stands up tall and holds it with all his strength. And Superman's watching him, and he's like, hey, you know, I looked at your bone density, and as strong as you are, this was really meant for me. You shouldn't be able to hold up this much weight and be okay. And Spider-Man's like, yeah, I'm pretty much distracting myself. Like, talk to me. Talk to me about anything that's happening right now. Talk to me about anything that's going on. So Spider-Man and Superman decide to have a conversation. But while this is going on, there's a percentage bar that's filling up that us readers can see that says how far the kryptonite radiation goal is along. So it's pretty much a timer counting down to something, or a bar building up to some sort of event. And we'll find out what that event is as we read this story. So it's around 70%, 77% or something like that. Don't quote me. But Superman decides to ask Spider-Man, why do you do it? Why do you dress up like Spider-Man? Why do you go out? Why do you save the day? What drives you to do it, right? And Spider-Man reveals it's out of guilt. And when you think about it, that's a lot of the reasons why superheroes do what they do. It's not a selfish thing to feel this guilt, but it is a driving force that makes people make decisions based on the possibilities of things happening to not just themselves, but the people around them, and wanting to make a better tomorrow. Spider-Man reveals that he does this because of the fact that if he doesn't act, something bad could happen to the people around him. And he would feel horrible if he could have prevented something and didn't do it. And just like in the other video, that inspired Superman. That inspires Superman to stand up next to Spider-Man and again help him hold this load. And Spider-Man's so concerned. I love their dynamic. Spider-Man and Superman is a top three crossover dynamic if I've ever seen it. Because, like I said, we have the symbol of hope in superheroes and the most relatable superhero just teaming up. I love how they interact with each other. Spider-Man's so worried. He's like, dude, you look like you're 1 foot in the grave. Let me handle this. And Superman's like, no, together we will get through this. Together we're gonna make things possible. But that's when the radiation levels hit 100%. And Lex Luthor and Green Goblin's plan activates. We find out that amongst the rubble, that within the darkness of the rubble, lies another villain in cahoots with the two, and that so happens to be Venom. And when Superman seems to fall nearly unconscious to the radiation poisoning from the kryptonite, he is overshadowed by Venom and goes on the hunt for Spider-Man. And I think this is one of the coolest panels I've seen in a long time. You have a symbiotic Superman, or a Venom enhanced, not enhanced, but a Venom covered or symbiote covered Superman chasing down Spider-Man. And we all know that in a knockdown, drag out fight, Venom and Spider-Man, though they go relative, Spider-Man had a hard enough time dealing with him. So imagine how much more terrifying it would be to be chased down by the Man of Steel. Dripped out in symbiote. That would be insane. Guys, in the comments, if you ever wanted to see a character overshadowed by Venom, let me know. What character in fiction do you think would look really, really cool in a symbiote? But we have Venom, or Venom Superman, chasing Spider-Man. But Spider-Man is a bit witty, and we know this, and he makes distance with Superman Venom, or Venom to Superman, and takes the Green Goblin grenade that is emitting this radiation of kryptonite and tosses it across the city, just far enough for Superman no longer to be affected by the kryptonite radiation, causing him to slowly gain his power back. And you see Venom freaking out, right? Venom's like, he's doing something to our arms. I have no control. Initially, Superman shoots his lasers, revealing his face. And when he's able to breathe, he opens his hands as wide as he can and claps them, dispersing Venom, sending a shockwave throughout the city, causing all the villains that have currently teamed up. And you can look in the panels, which is crazy. I think that's Doomsday. You also have Taskmaster, of course, Green Goblin, Lex Luthor. They are all putting their arms up to avoid the shockwave. And Superman and Spider-Man, quick, fast, and in a hurry, descend upon these two, putting their hands on their shoulder and say, please, make it easy and fight back. And that's how you know that their tyranny has come to an end. Superman and Spider-Man wrap it up really quickly. But that's not the part of the story that excites me. Though we had a Venomized Superman, though we had a amazing Batman joke at the beginning of the book, that's not what drew me in. What drew me in is what happens towards the end of the story. You have Spider-Man going to Uncle Ben's grave, and he's telling him about him and Superman's recent team up, where Superman, as Clark Kent, comes up to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's spider sense goes off, and he's like, Clark? And he's like, hey, yeah, I didn't mean to startle you. I didn't mean to follow you. And Spider-Man's like, yeah, you didn't really startle me. You're pretty obvious. You're way too big to be hiding behind a tree. But what brings you here? And I love how Superman, this is so genuine. He's like, when me and Venom linked up, or when Venom overshadowed me, it shared our memories, right? So all the memories that were shared from Peter to Venom at one point, because we all know that Peter once held the Venom symbiote, and they shared a connection and they shared the memories. Those memories were briefly shared with Clark, and Clark remembered what Peter, or showed what Peter went through. So he shows up to Peter and he's like, you told me it was guilt that makes you dress up like Spider-Man, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's because somebody good taught you how to be good. taught you how to take responsibility, taught you that it was the right thing to do. And assumingly, we all know as comic book readers and fans of Spider-Man and knowing his lineage and his story, that that's right. That Uncle Ben taught him one of the greatest quotes in all of comic books: with great power comes great responsibility. And though there's a little bit of guilt there, it was the teachings of Uncle Ben and Aunt May and the rest of the people that Spider-Man associates with that behooves him to be this amazing individual, that pushes him to be not just responsible for his city, but somebody or a superhero that brings the smiles and, you know, really holds it down for his community. And Spider-Man takes notice of that. He's like, no, you're absolutely right. That's why. But I think that's also the reason you do what you do. Because while we were trapped, I noticed within your cape 2 pairs of glasses. So I'm guessing one is your reading glasses and one might belong to, I don't know, maybe your pa or something like that. And Clark is like, you know, you should be you should be an investigative journalist, because that's spot on. And Spider-Man's like, you know, I might take you up on that. And Superman was going to reveal more, be a little bit more open, but he decided there's a better way to show his appreciation for Spider-Man, and that was inviting him to dinner with the Kents. I love that tidbit. He's like, would you like to join us for dinner? And Spider-Man's like, can I bring Aunt May? And he's like, absolutely, you can bring Aunt May. Bring her down. Bring her to meet my family. And he's like, but ask her to make that apple pie. Ask her to make that apple crumble. I saw it in our mind link, or I saw it in the shared memories. And they joke back and forth about how Aunt May and Mama Kent are both strong-willed women. And they make a joke about them battling each other or fighting each other. And Peter's like, Aunt May, she's a tough one. And Clark is like, Mama Kent is she's farm raised, she's a tough one too. I love how they can joke about stuff like that. You have 2 really big-hearted, genuine heroes who are relatable in the fact that they take responsibility and accountability for the things around them, not out of simple guilt or not out of pleasure or not because of the desire just to do it, but because they were taught by role models in their life the right thing to do. And we end the story off actually with a shot of not just the Kent house, but what's going on inside at Smallville. We have Spider-Man, Aunt May, Ma and Pa Kent, Spider-Man and Clark enjoying a lovely meal together. And out of the 2 so far that I've covered, I think this one is one of my favorite images. This one right here. This image from this crossover and the image of the last crossover where Spider-Man and Superman are talking about how they believe in each other. But let me know, guys. You let me know how you guys have been enjoying the Spider-Man, Superman crossovers. There's a couple more crossover videos I want to make, but I loved these 2. But you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Be critics. Tell me how to make the playlist, the channel better for you acolytes and the rest of the viewers and future viewers. And if you guys have any comic books you guys want me to review, any books, any movies, any manga, any anime, let me know. I love doing this for you guys. There'll be another video coming out shortly. But other than that, take care, and I'll make sure to get you guys with another video really soon.